Hello again, welcome back to my channel. So for the second topic for today, I want to discuss LuLaRoe. And I know you're all thinking, oh no she didn't. Yeah, I did. Okay, so story time. So I was selling Avon on the side on top of working full time, and it was only making like a small amount of money. And I've been trying to work toward these goals. I'm a prepper. Eventually, like, my husband and I are going to be homesteaders when we can pay off this house, get it remodeled, and then get a piece of land in the country. So we have these goals that we're working toward, and I thought that if I could find a way to make extra money on the side, that I could achieve our goals. And I had heard stories about how people selling LuLaRoe were making ridiculous amounts of money. Like, we're talking more than $100,000 a month, or maybe in a year. Ridiculous amounts of money. Like, there were people selling who were literally rich from selling, and those were people who had gotten in, at the beginning and were part of the start of the company. So I'm hearing about how people are making so much money selling LuLaRoe. And I had never even worn LuLaRoe. I'd seen all the posts on Facebook, and I didn't want to get hooked on something, because sometimes I get hooked on things and then I buy like a bunch of those things. It happens. But I didn't want to get hooked on LuLaRoe, so I was removing myself from any parties, any invites, refusing to have anything to do with it. I was like, I don't want nothing to do with LuLaRoe. Well, then one of my husband's relatives had a party, and it was a Facebook party, and I was invited, and I sort of felt like obligated to buy because it was one of my husband's relatives. So I went ahead and bought. I went through the photo albums in the group, and the consultant had posted some outfits. So I picked out an outfit that she had posted, and I paid, and she shipped it to me, and I got it. And I didn't try it on right away. I waited for probably a few days, and I had everyone in this group saying, have you tried it on yet? Because they knew that I had never tried LuLaRoe, and I was like, no, I haven't. It's sitting in the closet. No big deal. I'll get around to it. And they're like, no, seriously, try it on. So I finally caved, went and got the outfit out of my closet, and tried it on. It was literally the softest clothing I had ever worn. Those leggings were literally soft and buttery, like they said. So soft. And the shirt, baggy, long, comfy, covered me well. I was like, this is heaven. Like, I could lay around my house in this. It's like wearing pajamas, but it's considered clothes. So I had bought that outfit. Well, then I bought another outfit from her, and I waited a bit. She had these dresses called, I think, an Amelia, and I had really wanted to try one of the dresses because I heard they were comfy. So I bought an Amelia. I loved it. I bought, I think, a Carly. I bought several things. Like, I just, like, bought, I want to say I bought like $700 worth of LuLaRoe. I think that's about what I did. I think I dropped like $700 just on LuLaRoe. So I had all this LuLaRoe, and it was so comfortable. And for someone who has like joint issues, joint pain, and autoimmune issues like me, it was so nice to just like lay around in the house in LuLaRoe. And I got it in the winter, so I did notice that it really wasn't warm enough for winter. But anyway, I was hooked. So I'm in all these groups, because once you're like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it, I love it, all of a sudden you're like added to like 50 million groups, and everyone's pushing you to buy. Well, then they were talking about like selling, and everyone's talking about how much money they make and how amazing this is, and everyone needs to do this. And I was like, I'm over here making this piddly little amount selling Avon, why don't I sell LuLaRoe? So I did. And here's the part that hurts. I cringed a little. Okay. I took out a $10,000 business loan to do this. It was $10,660. Ordered my first inventory. It got here. It was 10 giant boxes in my driveway. All this clothing gets here and I'm like overwhelmed. I think I had like one clothing rack and I had a small amount of hangers. And I really I wasn't truly prepared for just how much clothing this was. This front porch that I'm standing in right now, it got turned into my Lula room. So I had 2 huge clothing racks, plus I had like tables and I had boxes. It was insane just how much I had. Those 2 huge clothing racks were double-sided, so I had clothing on each side, and we had it set down up so it goes down the center of the porch over where the couch is, and people could walk on either side. And then I had the table, which I have over here on my left. I had it set up with leggings folded a certain way so that they would all be visible. So I set this thing up like a store, and then I had bought like a ton of 31 totes to carry like the children's leggings and some other things in. I was having issues with space. So I had all this inventory show up and it was exciting, and I had my first party and I sold stuff and I was super excited. But I'm sitting on a $10,000 business loan. So all of the excitement is there, I'm going to sell all this stuff. But I didn't factor in the fact that LuLaRoe suddenly had grown like a ton. Just like, boom. They were everywhere. There were consultants literally everywhere. So for me, getting sales, it was a battle. And also, you don't get to choose your prints. They send you these boxes, and it's a surprise to you what's in there. And you have to do these live sales like on video on Facebook. So I would get a new shipment and I would go live and I would show all of the items with numbers, and then I would hang them on the rack, and people would just like say which number and sold, and then I would invoice them. So it was this whole setup where I'm getting in this clothing that I don't know what it's going to look like. Customers don't know. And sometimes I would get these god-awful ugly prints. Okay, most of the time. They weren't sending me much solids. And this is the Midwest. This is not California or like Arizona or something, or New York. Here, we're a lot more conservative. So all of these wacky prints, like my customers were looking at them and going, yeah, no, that's not happening. And sometimes I could sell some of the wacky prints if I could pair it with a solid. Like if it was a really wacky looking pair of leggings, if I paired it with like a solid shirt, or the print shirts, if I would pair them with solid leggings, I could sell them as an outfit. And it worked that way, except for the fact that I wasn't getting solid prints. So I had this whole struggle with, I've got all these crazy prints. And yeah, sometimes I got some really cute stuff. But there was also the orders where literally everything was freaking ugly. And I was like baffled as to how I was supposed to sell this. So another thing that happens when you're selling LuLaRoe is you get pushed to buy. You have a certain limit on how many pieces that you have. You have to have a minimum amount of pieces that you order every month, but they push you to order, or they say when you sell, you sink all of the money back into buying more. So instead of sinking a ton of the money into paying off my loan, I was paying the minimum payment on my loan, which was $252 a month. And then I was sinking the rest of my money into buying more inventory. So my debt's not really coming down, but my inventory's coming up. And I even had like a credit card balance at one point. And not only am I getting pushed by consultants to order, but customers, as soon as you get a shipment, you're literally doing a live and they're saying, when's your next order come in? When's your next order come in? And I'm going, guys, I'm in the middle of a live. I'm selling what I just got. I haven't made any money on what I just got. I need to make money in order to turn around and order more. And everyone, literally everyone, expects you to just go further and further and further into debt in order to build up your inventory and in order to keep your customers happy. I literally had people getting angry because my orders weren't coming in fast enough for them. And I'm just trying not to cause my family any more hardship and any more debt. So there's the whole push, order, get bigger and bigger orders. And then they release new prints and they release new... When I was selling was when they started the Disney thing. My Disney order was literally all Minnie Mouse. So I'm sitting on all this Minnie Mouse and nobody wants it. Everybody wants all the other prints. I finally, after selling some of my normal stuff, had enough money to place another Disney order, and they had released multiple other prints since then. But I placed my order, and my order comes in, and it's all Minnie Mouse. So I literally had this large quantity of Minnie Mouse Disney clothing. Minnie Mouse. Everyone's asking for like Eeyore and Winnie the Pooh and Bambi and what's that other one? Nightmare Before Christmas. And like they're asking for all of these other prints, and I'm not getting them. I'm not getting solid colors. I got black leggings I think a couple of times. So I'm getting horrible orders when I'm ordering. So I'm trying to like keep things going. Now on the positive, when I did an event, I showed up more prepared than the other LuLaRoe vendors, and while they were struggling with their systems, like I came with my cell phone and my iPad, and my iPad I tethered to my data on my cell phone. So as soon as I needed to place an order, it was like, or I needed to invoice someone, it was like, boom, had my, it's kind of like a little square, it hooks into the iPad, you can swipe their card. Like I was super ready. So when I did events, I sold fairly good because I could take care of like multiple customers in the time that it was taking the other LuLaRoe dealers just to get their computer working connected to the Wi-Fi in like the mall or something like that. So I did really well on events where I went and I sold. You do have to pay for those events. There's a fee to be in those. But anyway, so all of the struggle with LuLaRoe is that you're constantly ordering and you're bombarding your family with like all this debt, and you're busy, and people get online and they want to order at midnight and later, and I'm still working full time. So I was going to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning and getting up at 5 a.m. because everyone wants to start messaging me at like midnight with questions on different things, and hey, I like this piece, do you have anything that you can put with it to make an outfit? So I'm like dressing a mannequin at midnight and taking photos and messaging back, and so it was very involved. But another thing happened while I was selling. When I started, they had said, no big deal if you're not successful, if you don't like it, you can ship everything back and you get 100% of your money back. 100%. Well, that changed. Several months into me selling, that changed, and it went to you get 90% of your money back, and you can only ship back what you've purchased in the last 12 months. And I'm still sitting there thinking, no big deal. I'm still selling enough. But there's like an explosion of LuLaRoe consultants around here. Like everywhere I go, there's LuLaRoe consultants. So I've got customers that are no longer just shopping with me, but they've discovered there's a host of local LuLaRoe consultants. So now I might get a random sale here and there, but then they're shopping all of the consultants to get what they need. And same thing with like online. Everyone was a LuLaRoe consultant on Facebook, so people had options. They would be in multiple groups and hitting multiple sales so that they could find that perfect piece that they wanted, which is really rough on the LuLaRoe consultant when they get a bad shipment with all ugly pieces. So I struggled my way through for about a year, and that's when I threw in the towel and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't deal with the lack of sleep. I'm working round the clock. You get people in your group that are other LuLaRoe consultants, and if you run a sale, then they're reporting you, because LuLaRoe, although you buy all of that inventory from them and you own it, they have rules that you can't sell it however you want to. They had very strict rules on how you could sell, and you couldn't sell below the MAP pricing. You couldn't sell in a storefront. You had specific ways that you were allowed to advertise, and to do events you even were supposed to submit paperwork asking permission. Now, I did not do that because I am a bit of a rebel, and I said, I'm not asking people permission to go to the fair and sell LuLaRoe. That's stupid. Like, I own this. I bought this. That is my $10,000, not yours. So, like, I bucked against the rules a lot, and I kind of did things my own way just to try to get my sales up. If I hadn't done those things, I would have failed really quick. So I was selling LuLaRoe, and I will say I was making money at it, but a lot of the money was going into buying new outfits for myself, because every time they come out with, Marley, get down. Come on. I gotta come on. Get out. No, you can't be out here if you're gonna be like that. Sorry, FedEx. FedEx at the neighbor's house, and he thinks he owns the street. But what was I saying? Yeah. I was saying that I didn't follow the rules, and I was selling basically however I needed to. So I finally did throw in the towel and say, I'm done. And that was when they changed their policy on, because they had changed that I couldn't send back and get 100% of my money back. And then they made the change where you had to have, I think it was 15 items. Damages. When I started, if someone had a pair of leggings that had a hole in it, all I had to do was snap a couple photos. Here's a photo of the leggings, here's a photo of the hole, and then they would give me credit. Well, then it was, you have to have like 15 items, and then you have to ship it back to us. So I was going to have to pay shipping, and I was going to have to hold on to those damages. So I have this box of damages, and for someone who's selling on a small scale, this was crippling, because I couldn't get my credit. I couldn't do anything with the damages. I wasn't getting money for it, so I couldn't reorder. So I've got all these damages, and then they highly encourage you, if someone buys something from another consultant and it's damaged, you just take care of the customer and you replace their leggings or whatever it is. Well, that part sucks too, because I would have people who didn't buy from me who would then say, hey, I like something in your inventory. I have this pair of leggings with holes in it, and I would like to swap. So then I don't even make any money, and I've got a damaged set of leggings sitting here that it could be months before I can ship back and get my credit. So that part was crippling too. So I did eventually get out. When I got out, I shipped everything back except the things that were not eligible. Seasonal, what did they call them? Like 4th of July. 4th of July was not eligible to ship back. Anything seasonal, like Christmas, 4th of July, Halloween, those things, they were not, they were called capsules, I think. But we weren't allowed to ship that stuff back. It was stuff that we'd purchased within the last year, minus anything seasonal or anything we have purchased from another consultant, because we could actually swap inventories with other consultants, but that would make it ineligible to ship back. So I ended up shipping back almost all of my inventory. It took them 10 months to get my money to me. So in the meantime, for 10 months, I'm paying my loan payment out of my Walmart paycheck. But once the money came in, I was out from underneath the loan. I had almost gotten myself out from underneath the loan before then. And then I was able to replace the money I had used from my paycheck, put that into my savings account, so that I ended up replacing the money I had used to make that payment all those 10 months that I was making payments from my paycheck instead of from the money from LuLaRoe. So eventually I got out, and I was very glad I did. Also, during the time I was selling was when all of the lawsuits started against LuLaRoe, like with the, what was it, the pyramid scheme lawsuits, the people were irate about the leggings with the holes. So like all this controversy is going on, and people are starting to buy less LuLaRoe, and then the market is flooded with LuLaRoe consultants. So my sales were great at first, but toward the end they were horrible because all this controversy and all these people saying never buy from LuLaRoe, and then there's the lawsuits. So my experience with LuLaRoe was very negative. I don't recommend that you go into multi-level marketing like that where you have to buy $10,000 worth of inventory. It's not a good sign. And where they push you to buy and buy and buy and go deeper and deeper into debt, this is not good. So I highly advise people, don't do it. Only do what you can order and turn around and hand over to your customers. You shouldn't have to have an entire room in your house devoted to an inventory for a network marketing company. That's just a bit excessive. And that is my experience with LuLaRoe. Yes, I've done a few things, and LuLaRoe is one of my regrets. So, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you guys later.